Alright, I ended up being a bit too busy yesterday to actually record a commentary and upload a video, so we're getting this one day late. The busyness was SAP related though, so I feel like it's justified. But the premise behind this video was to have well, I wanted to do two things. I wanted to have a level 1 swordfish for a start, but then I wanted to have that swordfish being healed after it hits itself. I don't know why, I was like, a swordfish is just one of those units that's it's so fun to use, and I wanted to try and use it in different ways other than just having, high level swordfish with pepper, which is pretty much what you see all the time. I actually have another separate swordfish video recorded, but I'll save that one for next week. But if we're gonna try and make sure that the swordfish is useful once it's hit itself at the beginning, there are a bunch of pets that we can use to try and buff it back up again. And you can see here I take the surgeon fish, and funny that we actually get matched with Rev immediately. Surgeon fish has become something of a favourite of mine now. And I've also got, I think we'll see some of the other pets. There's koala was in there. I mean, obviously koala, even with a level 3 koala, you're only going to be giving a tiny amount of stats back to the swordfish, but I think it's better to have a lot of different things you can go for in the same pack, so that, fewer runs feel like they're completely wasted. So here I do actually freeze the koala and the sea lion. Of course, we don't actually have any trumpets for the surgeon fish. I maybe should have frozen the stilt that was in the shop there. But thankfully the raw stats are going to be good enough here. And I am taking kiwi. I did mention that in one of the other videos, that I feel like kiwi is still good enough that you can take it. Being able to put 4 stats onto one of the units that you want to keep is definitely worth paying for, because it's clearly a lot more expensive than before. There was a silk moth in the shop there, but obviously I wasn't really going for silk moth unless I actually had it on the early turns. Again, it's similar to koala. It can only do a very small amount of healing onto the swordfish once we find it. But I will take alpaca here, although again, it's not going to be too useful for the swordfish because I don't want to go above level 1. And common sight here with the hatching chick buffing the tier 1, but we're fine. I really want to get rid of the level 3 fish, but I haven't found anything yet that I am actually interested in. I guess some of the things that we're looking for are not going to be available until next turn unless I find a level up, so we don't get one. So I decided just to put the cherry on the sea lion so that we actually get some surgeon fish healing going in advance, because we could find a swordfish next turn. Of course, we do also need to give the swordfish some health, and putting the sea lion at the front kind of goes against that. But here we get the level 2 sea lion via alpaca, and we actually get 2 stegos as well. So we can bring in stego, and I actually rolled past crane there, which was a bit of a mistake. Crane was definitely also on the list of units that I was very interested in. So here's someone going for the significantly nerfed mole plus ox combo, and in the previous version the ox would have regenerated another melon there, but they didn't. They actually only had one other perk, so I'm not quite sure what that team was doing. But we'll take the level on the stego, and I think I really need to probably find okay, there's the swordfish. But if we put the sea lion if we keep the sea lion at the front here, the swordfish is going to gain attack. So I think I need to move the swordfish to the front to make sure that it gets the +2 attack, +2 health rather, which would mean that it'll actually survive the initial snipe. And because we didn't lose, the snail does nothing. But the swordfish actually ends up getting the stego buff before it even goes for the snipe. So that was a little bit unexpected. But the health from the surgeon fish means we do actually win anyway. So probably snail can go now. Although I would like more health. I don't want to wait for another loss. And there we go. There's the crane. So my mistake from earlier can be corrected. And unfortunately here, I maybe didn't realize that the sea lion is now also going to make the swordfish faint. So yeah, now the swordfish goes to 10-10, so it's actually going to faint itself. You can actually see a little bit of an unfortunate interaction here. As a result of all the heart ability changes, so they count on faint as well. It actually means that if your unit directly in front of crane faints for whatever reason, either if it's swordfish or if it's got sniped by the opposing team, then you actually lose the activation on the crane, which is really annoying. So actually here I should put the crane behind the surgeonfish, and that means that it actually has a chance of going off in battle. But I wasn't really paying attention to that at the time, and clearly I'm also not paying attention to the fact that the sea lion is giving attack to the swordfish, and we are going to end up in a situation here where the surgeonfish doesn't get to buff anything. But thankfully it has high enough stats as a result of the level 2 stego that we get the win anyway. But now we should be, move the sea lion, put the stego to the front, and then look for a cherry to go on the stego instead. And sea lion at the back means that the swordfish is guaranteed now to have higher health than attack. And with the pita bread, it's going to recover some health as well. In fact, it's actually going to recover all the damage with the pita bread and gain some attack from the crane. And then the surgeonfish will get the chance, once we find another cherry, to refill the swordfish's health even further, and hopefully get even more value from the melon from the crane. So there's a cherry. Pretty rare that I would ever be buying a cherry on turn 14 in customs, but here we are. And then I think probably, we can look for level 2 crane. So I'm kind of surprised how well we're doing here. I guess it's probably mainly to do with the level 2 stego, but you could take this to much more of an extreme. You could have a 4950 swordfish. I guess the problem with that is that the lower the swordfish goes in terms of how much health it has after it snipes itself, the more likely it is to get removed by opposing snipes before any healing gets to take place. So here I'm kind of making do with only a 16 attack swordfish. I suppose I could also swap the stego and the sea lion back around. And here we end up sniping a camel for virtually no damage. But it is kind of funny that this team is very similar in terms of principle. They've got the silk moth and the koala to try and refill the camel stats. But we end up winning. So surgeonfish plus swordfish, a little bit unusual, but definitely a fun build to mess around with. Then here's a bonus clip from a run that just did not pan out at all. And I got matched with someone with jellyfish plus 4 orangutans, which is really strange because it looks like they're playing with no lollipop. Or maybe they were just unlucky and they didn't find a single lollipop on turn 9, but very unusual team to face, and always puts a smile on my face when that happens.